Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano. It is Wednesday, February the 7th. Ian Cameron. Normally, I'm joined by Brad Francis on the Wednesday show, but he is unavailable today. He'll be back with us next week. So just me and you today to talk NBA for this Wednesday slate. We have 7 games in the NBA tonight. We'll break those down. I'll give you a couple of college basketball opinions as well at the end of the show. It's going to be a very quick, brief show today for this Wednesday, but as always, I'll give you every Wednesday NBA game, couple college basketball opinions and bets we like, and then we will wrap it up with best bets as we always do. So let's get into it. We'll begin with the Toronto Raptors and the Charlotte Hornets. We've got the Raptors 7.5-point road favorites here in this game, and the total currently at 225.5, 226 here in this game. Pick your poison trying to back either of these teams right now. Raptors are 1-8 straight up, 3-5 against the spread in their last, actually 3-6 against the spread their last 9 games. And the Charlotte Hornets have been a complete fade for me in recent weeks, largely because of the very depleted, shorthanded roster that this group has had the last several games. We're talking about injuries galore, critical injuries galore for this team. Talking about, of course, LaMelo Ball. It looks like, once again, Cody Martin's a game-time decision. Gordon Hayward for the Hornets looks like he actually has been upgraded to probable, or questionable, rather. So there's at least some chance he gets back in the lineup. On the Raptors side, they're without Gary Trent. Gary Trent's actually on the injury report, but he is upgraded to probable. So he's going to end up playing here in this game for the Raptors. But I look at this situation right now for the Raptors as a team. I'm not looking to lay 7.5 with on the road, but am I really looking to back the Charlotte Hornets right now at this point in time either? Not the case. The Raptors are playing their third road game in 4 nights. They had that double OT game with Oklahoma City, and then they definitely had kind of like a hangover, if you will, against New Orleans, where that was just a brutal spot. Talking about a team that had to gut it out in double overtime. They had nothing at all left in their gas tank Monday night against the New Orleans Pelicans, and certainly it played out that way. So, when you look at this matchup here, it's tough to really back either side. I think if I had to, I'd lean Charlotte getting 7.5, but I haven't been in any rush to bet on this team either lately. So it's probably going to be a pass for me when it comes to the Raptors and the Hornets. Next game, it's Cleveland, Washington. Cavaliers, 11.5-point road favorites. 234 the total here in this game. The Cavaliers, man, they have been a really good team to watch, good team to bet on. Certainly for me, a big component of my success in the NBA this season has been cashing in on the Cavaliers, and I did so once again on Monday night. We talked about it. I thought they were the side to look at against Sacramento, and it ended up being a 136 to 110 victory for the Cavaliers against the Sacramento Kings in that game. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here tonight. It's been a great run for the Cavs. 9-1 straight up their last 10 games, 6 straight wins coming into tonight. Not an easy team to step in front of. Washington, on the other hand, there were a couple of games there, Pistons and the Spurs, although be it 2 of the worst teams in the NBA, that they not only covered, but they won. But they've taken a step up in competition the last 3 games, and it has not gone well for the Washington Wizards. 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread against the Clippers, the Heat, and the Suns. Early in the season, this team couldn't stop anybody, and that still is a bit of a problem. But now their scoring kind of has taken a hit as well due to the fact that they've had Kyle Kuzma banged up. There is good news, though. Kyle Kuzma is going to play tonight, so he comes back. Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole, Denny Althea, Kyle Kuzma, and Daniel Gafford, the starting 5 for Washington. Everybody pretty much healthy other than a guy that plays sparingly, Ty Jerome, for Cleveland off the bench. Other than that, this is a really healthy team. And this is a team where, Jared Allen's missed some games. And especially lately, Darius Garland's been someone that's missed a lot of games for the Cavaliers as well. But they've got their starting 5 intact. Garland, Mitchell, Strus, Mobley, and Allen are going to be in the lineup tonight for J.B. Bickerstaff and his Cleveland Cavaliers team. Now, Cavaliers 14-8 straight up, 12-10 against the spread on the road, but that's still a better road ATS and straight up record, obviously, than this lowly Wizards team, which is 3-21 straight up at home, 7-17 against the spread this season at home. So to me, there's just no reason to fade Cleveland right now. Is this the best spot to lay 11.5 with Cleveland? Well, it is the front end of a back-to-back. And I know I speak for myself when I say this, but I know there's other handicappers in the NBA that feel the same way. Ski Profit, some others that I know and respect very well. They don't always love laying big points, especially with bigger favorites with a team that has to play the following night. And again, Cleveland is in Brooklyn on Thursday night. So keep an eye on that. That's maybe if you're going to bet Cleveland here, maybe you look at a first half option instead. You trim the number down to about -7 if you're going to take Cleveland in the first half. And then that way, if Cleveland is up big, in this game by a sizable margin, in the third or the fourth quarter, they might rest starters knowing they're in Brooklyn tomorrow night. And also keep in mind, too, we've seen some of these games lately with these bigger favorites. And I go back to that game with the Lakers and the Hornets the other night, and I got burned by it. I took the Lakers full game. Now, look, I also had Indiana and Phoenix full game on Sunday. They ended up covering full game point spreads there, but sometimes it doesn't always come through. Sometimes you get the team that gets up big early, like the Lakers did. Then they kind of sleptwalk through the third and the fourth quarter. Charlotte comes through the back door and ends up covering the full game point spread. I do worry about something like that potentially here tonight involving the Washington Wizards. So I could only look at Cleveland, but what I would say is if you're going to bet Cleveland, either split it up first half full game or maybe just go first half -7 is probably the way I would approach it here in this game. All right, next up, it's Golden State, Philadelphia. Warriors, 2.5-point road favorites in this game, and the total currently sitting at, it looks like the numbers moved up a bit. Oh, it's 5 now. I beg your pardon, all the way up to 5 here with Golden State. I agree with the move. I bet Golden State last night because I knew this number was going to move, and I've been cashing tickets betting against Philadelphia since the absence of Joel Embiid. And I know they were able to beat Utah on the road 127-124 without Joel Embiid to close out that 5-game road trip. But they've been back home. They haven't looked right. They have not looked sharp in these first few games back home without, of course, Joel Embiid. And they're also banged up in so many other areas and other personnel on this team. Melton's still out. Robert Covington's still out. Nicola Batum is still out. Marcus Morris is a game-time decision tonight. Tyrese Maxey for the Philadelphia 76ers was absent from the shoot-around this morning due to an illness. His status is now very much in doubt. Daniel House added to the injury report with a right foot issue. So it is a mash unit right now for the Philadelphia 76ers going into this game tonight. Combined with the fact that they're struggling to find chemistry without Joel Embiid, combined with the fact it's been a grueling schedule, a lot of games in a condensed period of time, that 5-game road trip, then you have to come back home, play Brooklyn, and it was just a wonderful spot to back the Brooklyn Nets that game. And then against Dallas, of course, on Tuesday night, we see them lose 118-102. It's just, not a team right now I'm looking to back. Or sorry, Monday night, I should say, against Dallas. Not a team I'm looking to back right now. The number's getting up there with Golden State. However, they did have a nice road win at Brooklyn in their last game, 109-98. It's been a homer series. We've seen Golden State win and cover at home. Philly has won and covered 2 straight at home versus Golden State. But you do have to take that with a grain of salt. It was obviously much better, much healthier Philadelphia 76ers lineups in those 2 games compared to what you're seeing here tonight. So the money's moved pretty heavily toward Golden State, and some of that movement is mine. I did get in on Golden State quite early because I remember when I bet this last night, it was still around -2, and I was able to get the money line at -130. Well, that ship has sailed. The best money line price you can get on Golden State right now is -190 to -200. So, you've probably missed the best of the price now. But there's no position in this game where I would say, yeah, I want to buy back on Philadelphia. Not with what I'm seeing right now. They're a very depleted group, and it's showing in their results. All right, San Antonio and Miami. Miami Heat 8-point home favorites, 227 the total. I agree with the move in the total. I like points here in this game. Spurs are not exactly a team really ever defensively do I fully trust them. And I know they've been trending toward the under lately, and so has Miami. But, that was a pretty good offensive showing last night for the Miami Heat against us, Orlando, a very good team. We've seen 3 of the last 4 meetings with the Spurs and the Heat end up going over the total. And what's funny is 3 of those 4 meetings all surpassed the number that we're seeing here for this game tonight, which again sits at around 226.5. So I agree with this move toward the over in this game. As far as the side goes, I'm going to play San Antonio. I don't love it because I don't always trust this team when they're playing a better team. They did beat Minnesota at home back on January 27th, but outside of that, there's not a ton, of phenomenal performances from this San Antonio team against some better competition. They did cover in a loss against New Orleans at home, and we know on the road they've had their issues at times, although they did cover at Philadelphia in a 10-point loss. The road has been a bit of an issue for San Antonio, but I just don't trust the Heat here fully. Now, I know they kind of righted the ship last night. They got a win they needed against Orlando, a team that was playing pretty well, but I think when you look at this spot tonight on a back-to-back, with a core that contains, Terry Rozier's an older player. Jimmy Butler, of course, we know is that. You worry about this team and how much gas is going to be in their tank here on a back-to-back situation. So now I could see this being a, grind out a victory and move on to the next game if you're Miami. So I'm going to take the 8 here with the San Antonio Spurs in this game. Again, this is obviously, a lottery-bound team once again, 10-40, but the good news for the Spurs is everybody's healthy again, it looks like, at this point in time. They're going to have Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, Sohan, and, of course, Wemby all available for this game tonight for the San Antonio Spurs here tonight, which is a good thing for them going into it. And like I said, for Miami on the back-to-back, just don't have the utmost confidence in them coming off. And a bit of a statement game for them last night, taking on the Orlando Magic. It was admittedly a good performance from Miami, but I'm not trusting them as bigger favorites here tonight. All right, Atlanta and Boston. Celtics, 12.5-point home favorites, 244.5 the total here with the Hawks and the Celtics in this game. The Atlanta Hawks, of course, this team is they were gift-wrapped of absolutely outstanding situational spot Monday night against the LA Clippers, who are at the end of a 7-game road trip, who were obviously having a very good road trip for the most part. If there was ever a spot for Atlanta to pounce on a jet-lagged, road-weary Clippers team, that was the spot to do so, and they still couldn't get the job done. And that's because this is just not a great basketball team. It's time to admit Atlanta's not very good, okay? Their defense is not good most of the time. They don't play defense consistently. You've got guys that want to hog the basketball at times to the detriment of the team, namely Trae Young. DeJounte Murray's got a little bit of that in him as well, but especially Trae Young, that can be an issue. Sometimes it's just too much ISO ball, and to me, that's not winning basketball at this time of year. It's really at any time of year, but especially now. I definitely think we're going to see quite a few points in this game, but I would probably lean more toward some kind of Boston team total over and a full game over split in this game. I don't think I'd want all of it on Boston team total here. Now, there is a big potential look-ahead spot here for the Hawks. They play Philadelphia, but it's not like that's a bigger game than Boston tonight. And the Celtics have nothing to look ahead to. I mean, their next game is going to be Friday night at home against Washington, one of the worst teams. So I think for Boston, there's full focus here. You're going to have your eyes on it, focused on Atlanta here in this game. And if you look at the recent matchups between these two teams, Boston has won 3 of the last 4, and they've covered 3 of the last 4. The one concern is those victories were margins of 10, 8, and 8. So you're not getting a bargain here with this Boston team, but I just don't know how the hell I have the confidence in Atlanta, on the road to do anything for me right now. Now, they did beat Miami as a dog, but this is also a team that their last 2 road games, they were at Golden State, who aren't anything to write home about this season. They lost that game by 22 points, and they also lost at Sacramento by 15. They were getting 8.5 points in that game. They failed to cover. So, to me, Atlanta's not a team I trust stepping up in class against better competition, and even less do I trust them on the road, to be able to do that. So what I would probably look at here is a split bet between Boston team total, which is over 1, it's probably in the 120s, I would say. Yeah, 128, 128.5 with a Celtic team total. And I would probably also look at a full game over 244 here in this game. Keep in mind with Atlanta, we saw them give up 149 to the Clippers, 134 to Golden State in their last 2 games. They are capable of getting allowing maybe into the 130s here tonight for sure against this Boston Celtics team. The Celtics team that, by the way, from the looks of things tonight, should have. We've always had to keep an eye on this Porzingis situation because he's had a lot of games lately where he's been bounced out of the lineup at the last minute. But it looks like tonight we've got Porzingis confirmed in, Jason Tatum confirmed in, Jaylen Brown confirmed in, Derek White confirmed in. The only hesitancy right now is Drew Holiday for the Boston Celtics, questionable with the right elbow. If he doesn't play, if he doesn't play for the Boston Celtics tonight, their starting point guard, Drew Holiday, I think it makes the over an even better bet in this game because that's defense that you're losing with Drew Holiday out of the lineup. He's obviously a very good on-ball defender from the point guard spot. He's built a reputation off that the last few years, going back to when he was with Milwaukee, and you lose that ability to defend without him on the basketball court. And when you are going up against a Trae Young, on the other side for Atlanta, he could have his way if Drew Holiday's out. So if he's out, basically here's the way I would go. If Holiday's in, put more on Boston team total over. If Holiday's out, put more on the full game over 244. That is basically the way I would approach this thing here tonight with the Hawks and the Celtics based on the status of Drew Holiday for this game. All right, we got 2 games left. New Orleans Hornets, LA Clippers. Clippers 6.5 point home favorites, 231 the total. I don't think there's going to be anybody that wants to step in front of the LA Clippers right now. It's not easy to do so. We know this trio of Harden, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George. It's been an excellent team. You can't take anything away from what they've accomplished. 9-1 straight up, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games. The road trip was absolutely outstanding. A very long, winding, grueling, lengthy 7-game road trip. All those games in the East time zone: Toronto, Boston, Cleveland, Washington, Detroit, Miami, Atlanta. And they go 6-1 straight up in those 7 games on that road trip. So it's an outstanding road trip. No question about it for the LA Clippers. But man, if there's ever a spot that's 100%, at least on paper, 100% negative, it's this one tonight for the Clippers. Coming off a road trip of that length, 7 games, all that travel, flying back after that 7-game trip from the Eastern time zone to the Pacific time zone. And now you got to try to play just 48 hours later after winding down that road trip. And to make matters worse for the Clippers as far as the scheduling spot, it's not only the first game home off that lengthy, grueling 7-game road trip, it's also 3 games and 4 nights. When you factor in the Sunday night game at Miami on ESPN, the Monday night game the next night at Atlanta, and now here you are playing Wednesday night home to New Orleans. That's asking a lot. And for the Pelicans, they've won 3 in a row against the Rockets, the Spurs, and the Raptors. It's a Pelicans team that's been up and down this year, but lately they've been playing better, and they're starting to get healthy. They're 29-21 now on the season. And when you look at the Pelicans going into this game tonight, they should be, for the most part, relatively healthy. Of course, as always, Zion Williamson's a game-time decision. That's basically every Pelicans game lately. On the injury report, he shows up as a game-time decision. That's nothing new or different. But lately, they've also had a couple other injuries that they've been dealing with. But it looks like everyone else is good to go. Jonas Valanciunas is going to play. Herbert Jones, their best defender, is going to play. Starting backcourt is intact with C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram. They're both going to play. So definitely, when I look at this game here with the Pelicans and the Clippers, I know the Clippers are rolling right now. It's not easy to make a bet against this team right now. If there's ever a night to do it, I think tonight's the night. And I do like New Orleans here getting 6.5 in this game. I just think the situationals are just too dire to ignore here for the Clippers. It's just a brutal spot. And if they overcome it and they win the game, and they win the game by 7 or more, and they cover the point spread, I'll say salute. Hats off to you. Great job. And I'll take my L, and I'll eat shit, and I'll eat my L in this game if that's the case. But I just think this is a lot to overcome here for the LA Clippers tonight, coming off that kind of road trip, 6-1, all the travel. Now you're back home, East Coast to West Coast travel, East time zone to Pacific time zone, with only one day off in between, against a Pelicans team that is not chopped liver. It's a very capable team. So I'm going to take the Pelicans here, plus the points in this game against the LA Clippers in this spot. John, good question. Yes, my original Twitter X account, at Bobano, abandon it. Do not reply to anything from it. It's basically I don't know if it's a human being or if it's a spam bot, but something has taken over it, and all they're posting from it is Ethernet shit, crypto shit, and it's not coming from me. Okay, I abandoned that account weeks ago. I don't think I'm going to get access back to it. So that account, unfortunately, is dead as far as the at Bobano account you remember. So at Bobano Bets, okay, you see it on the screen, at Bobano Bets. That's the new Twitter account. That is where the real me is going to be posting from moving forward. So that's where you can find me. And again, don't reply to any. If that at Bobano account is DMing people, don't reply to it. Don't respond to anything from it, because it's not me anymore. So at Bobano Bets, that is where you can find me now on Twitter X. All right, final game for the NBA slate tonight: Detroit and Sacramento. Sacramento 13 and a half point home favorites in this game, 242 the total. I can't lay this number with Sacramento. I can't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. They're coming off a long road trip too. Let's not forget that. We just talked about it a minute ago with the LA Clippers. Same thing here with the Sacramento Kings. This is not a Sacramento spot. They're coming back from a same length of road trip as the Clippers, 7 in a row on the road, at Golden State, at Dallas, at Memphis, at Miami, at Indiana, at Chicago, and at Cleveland. This is going to be their, fourth game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be their fourth game in 6 nights, with travel and a venue change in between each game. Again, they've now traveled for 7 straight games, fourth game in 6 nights, first game home off that 7-game trip. This is not a let's lay 13 points with spot for the Sacramento Kings. Not even close right now. So when I look at this one here with Detroit and Sacramento, of course, 3 straight overs for them. Defense, again, comes and goes with this team. Like, we know they can be capable defensively, but we also know that they can give it up and they can struggle. And they did beat Indiana and played pretty well defensively that game. Same with Chicago, but a bad night defensively against the Cavs. They give up 136 points. Cleveland ends up shooting 58% from the field, 55% from three-point range as well against this. They shot 58% overall, 55% from three-point range. Cleveland against Sacramento in that win on Monday night. So there's just no trust that I have, and especially in a tough scheduling spot like this, for me to lay 13 points here with this Sacramento team. On the other side, you've got the Detroit Pistons. Can we trust them? I think you can. I mean, to me, I took Detroit here. Okay, I took Detroit plus 13 and a half. It's a big number, but the Pistons are 8-2 against the spread their last 10 games. Okay, they've been playing more competitive basketball of late. Now, tonight, I think there's a couple things you got to keep an eye on that concern me here for this Pistons team. Number one is Bojan Bogdanovic is questionable. Okay, and he's been a big part of their offense lately. This is a guy that scored in double figures now in 9 straight games for the Detroit Pistons. So, Bojan Bogdanovic may not be good to go tonight. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And also, to make matters worse, is Cade Cunningham's status is up in the air. He's questionable due to a left knee injury. And again, this is the front end of a back-to-back for the Detroit Pistons, okay? So they're playing Portland tomorrow night. So there's a good chance that Bogdanovic or Cunningham, or maybe even both, sit out tonight. And that would change my thought process a little bit here. It wouldn't change my thought process to bet Sacramento. There's no way I'm betting Sacramento. But it would change my thought process to how much I would put on Detroit. I've only bet a very small amount on Detroit so far because I am concerned about whether Bogdanovic and or Cade Cunningham miss this game for the Pistons, which would greatly hurt their chances. But they're still the preferred side for me in this game. Detroit plus the points rather than Sacramento laying this kind of number. Just can't do it. In this kind of spot and a Sacramento team too. Let's keep in mind they're only a 500 ATS team. In their last 10 games. So keep that in mind. So again, I got a small piece of Detroit plus the points, plus 13.5. I'll add more if these two guys are in, but I'm waiting to get confirmation if one or both of them will play tonight and suit up for the Pistons. Talking about, of course, Bogdanovich and Cade Cunningham. So that is what I am waiting on for this game. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Again, this is Bet with Bobano. This show is Monday and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time moving forward. So Mondays and Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern time is when you can find this channel. Normally, I will have Griffin Murphy with me on Mondays and Brad Francis on Wednesdays. Brad's unavailable today, but he'll be back next Wednesday. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like button. And again, at Bobano Bets on Twitter X, which is also the new handle associated with my YouTube channel. Okay, my YouTube channel is also listed under at Bobano Bets now moving forward. So make sure you check that out. So great question, Carlos. Hopefully that answered it. Mondays and Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern time, Bet with Bobano. Now, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm on with Ski Profit, Dutch, and Wham on Ski Profit's YouTube channel. He does the show, and I'm part of that Tuesdays and Thursdays at this time. So that's why you're not going to see this show on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because I'm on with Ski Profit, Wham, and Dutch on Ski's channel Tuesdays and Thursdays at this time. And then Friday, it's the end of the week. There's other things that I'm usually doing late in the afternoon, so it's difficult to do a Friday show at this time. So that's why right now, Mondays and Wednesdays is when you see this show, 4 p.m. Eastern time. I also want to mention regarding the brand new YouTube channel that I have, the new personal YouTube channel, which is now available. You're seeing this show on my new YouTube channel. It's also streaming on the Ice Guys channel, actually, as well. Now, my own shows personally will not be streaming on the Ice Guys channel indefinitely. This is only for the next, I would say, month or so, because I'm trying to build up the audience on my own YouTube channel and get the word out there to people that watch the Ice Guys that, hey, as far as my non-hockey content, we're going to eventually migrate that to my own channel, which is now at Bobano Bets. So for the next month, all my sports betting videos and content outside of the Ice Guys show, I will stream it live on both the Ice Guys channel and my new personal channel at Bobano Bets. And I also want to point out I will be recording in the next 24 hours a Super Bowl preview show on my own channel. So again, that will be on my own YouTube channel, which is at Bobano Bets. Super Bowl preview edition, side total, player props, tons of player prop discussion coming up for the 49ers and the Chiefs. I'll be recording that, and then we'll post it on the channel. And I will have special guests joining me for that show. Trevor Harris, CFL quarterback with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So looking forward to having Trevor join me for the Super Bowl preview show, and we will definitely give you all the preview and analysis you need from a betting standpoint for the Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Chiefs. Definitely looking forward to that and recording that. Sorry, I know people are asking hockey questions. Go watch the Ice Guys show. That's all I'll say. Go watch. I've talked my hockey already for today. I will say this. I do like Faber tonight. I think any Faber props are good for Minnesota in that game against Chicago tonight in the NHL. All right, quickly, college basketball. I'm just going to throw out a couple of opinions on the college slate, a couple games I like. I like LaSalle against St. Louis. I don't trust St. Louis on the road. LaSalle's starting to play better. They really are. So I like the Explorers there laying a short number. So I got burned by Georgetown. They just had a bad game against Marquette, but they were starting to cover big numbers. I kind of leaned to Georgetown there. I don't know if I want to really fully trust them, though, again. I like over the total with Valpo and Indiana State. You should see a lot of points in that game. Same thing with Furman and Mercer. I think you'll see a lot of points there. Kind of a bounce-back spot, too, for Furman. Furman had that tough loss against Greensboro over the weekend, a very good team. That's SoCon Conference, Southern Conference in college basketball. It's very underrated. It's a really good mid-major conference. I like Furman in the over in that game. I kind of like Wisconsin against Michigan. I don't trust Michigan right now, and Wisconsin trying to bounce back after the loss to Purdue on the weekend, which was a really tough loss. They battled the Boilermakers pretty tough at home, but fell short. I like the Xavier Musketeers. Probably lean over as well against Villanova, but especially like Xavier -3 in that game. Tennessee coming off the big win at Kentucky, laying a big number. Last time they laid a big number at home against South Carolina, although South Carolina is on fire right now. They lost that game outright. So maybe LSU plus points. I'm a little bit interested there. I like over the total in the Alabama-Auburn game, and I like Auburn to avenge that loss to Alabama earlier this season. St. Bonaventure's really playing some better basketball. They're at home. They're good at home. I could look toward the laying the number there with St. Bonnie. I think Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech might be a good over. I lean to Pitt Panthers against NC State. Louisville, Syracuse, I like over the total in that game. Louisville actually is starting to compete a little bit better. If you have the guts to take Louisville +9, we did see them beat Florida State just recently. They're playing better. I know they're a bad team, but, they have played a little bit better lately. So, keep an eye on this Louisville team. It could be one of those teams that are so bad, ATS and straight up early in the season, and now just because they're so devalued, there's actually some good value to back them now this stage of the year. I like the over with UTSA and Wichita State. We should see a lot of points. I think UTSA might be worth a look there. Wichita, coming off that Memphis game, they had the lead wire to wire, and they just blew it in the last few minutes, and they lost to Memphis. Heartbreaking. Could be tough to lay 9 with Wichita coming off that loss. I like Northern Iowa against Missouri State. SMU Rice. I like Rice. I've been fading SMU lately. SMU has been winning but not covering lately. Happened again versus UAB over the weekend. Happened again last week against Tulane. Their last 2 games, they won, but they did not cover as decent-sized favorites. So Rice in a nice little in-state battle there. Rice is a home underdog. I think might be worth a look there in that game. James Madison, Arkansas State. I would kind of lean over there, but man, high total. They didn't do me any favors. Didn't give me a bargain there at 160.5. What else? Georgia. I think Georgia might hang against Mississippi State. Georgia's been starting to cover some numbers. They've been very competitive of late. This Georgia Bulldogs team struggled to finish games, but man, they've been right there in a lot of their recent games lately. So maybe a look toward Georgia plus the points there in that game. And I say take Cal against USC. USC is awful. USC is just, I think they're a lost cause. I think it's the end of the road for Andy Enfield. I know there was a lot of hype coming out of the Dunk City, the Florida Gulf Coast teams that he brought to the tournament years ago. He just hasn't delivered the goods here with this USC team since he's been there. It's been a pretty bad run for them. Now, they did get a big blowout win against Oregon State to snap a 6-game losing streak, and they won by 28. But now they got to go on the road. Cal actually does have a winning record, 7-5 at home this season. USC just 1-6 straight up on the road, by the way. So I think Cal, at only a short number there, 2.5. I could only look at the Golden Bears there in that one. So there's some college basketball for you. Let's wrap up this show. Best bet, NBA for this Wednesday night. I think it's a clear best bet for me. And like I say, if the Clippers beat me, okay, I'll say, well done, Clippers. You're playing so well right now that not even one of the worst situational scheduling spots can trip you up right now, because that's what this is to me tonight. This is a horrible spot for the Clippers, and if they find a way, to, win and cover tonight, I'll be very impressed. But they're playing a capable, solid Pelicans team that's playing well the last few games. Pelicans have a little bit, not a rest advantage because they both played Monday night, but when you factor in all the travel the Clippers did, having to go east to west back home, I think it's still a situational advantage for the Pelicans tonight, and I'm going to take the plus 6.5 with the New Orleans Pelicans tonight against the LA Clippers, and that is going to be my best bet here for this Wednesday NBA card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate it very much. Hit the like button on the way out. Again, I'll be here Mondays and Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern time with Bet with Bobano. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And as always, bet like Tony Soprano, bet with Bobano, and we'll see you again Monday for another edition.